All right, this video is to provide some homework help for those of you that are struggling a little bit with homework set number 7. I'm not going to necessarily answer the problems for you, but I'm going to point you in the right direction. So for questions 3 and 4, it tells us to use this function here, this position function, t squared minus 3t minus 4. And it says it represents the position of the back of a car, backing out of a driveway, and then driving a straight line, where s is in feet and t is in seconds. So in question 3, it says determine the velocity of the car when the position is equal to 0. Well, before you can calculate the velocity when the position is equal to 0, you need to know at what time is the position equal to 0. So you're going to want to take this equation here and set it equal to 0. And you want to solve for those values of t that are equivalent to 0. And then you would take those values of time and use them to answer this question. So you would want to know what is the velocity when your position function is at 0. So you would use these values of time that you solved for. And to get the velocity function, remember, you have to derive your position function. So same idea here. Determine the velocity of the car when your position function is equal to 14. So you would do the same thing, except instead of setting it equal to 0, you're going to set it equal to 14. And then, again, use your velocity function and plug in those values for t. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't skip one here. All right, so in the questions related to this particular graph, it's asking us when is the velocity increasing, when is it decreasing, and when is the object at rest. So you can look and see how your position function is moving. If you can see here, what's happening with your velocity. On this interval, your velocity is remaining the same, so it's not moving. And then you can look to see when is your function increasing and when is your function decreasing. For questions 8 and 9, you're given a cost function and you're asked two questions. One is to find the cost of manufacturing 12 food processors, find the marginal cost. And then the second question is asking us to find the cost of 13 food processors. So to find the marginal cost, which gives us the rate of change of the cost when we're dealing with 12 food processors, first thing you would want to do is derive this cost function. So you would calculate the derivative, and you just plug in 12. And that's going to give you your marginal cost. For that next question, where it's asking us to, and this is kind of giving us an estimate, where it's asking you to find the cost of the 13th, you would take the cost of the 13th minus the cost of the 12th to see that change in cost, which is really what you're looking at. Oops, keep skipping 2 at a time here. Let's see, that one we already talked about. There we go. Okay, and here this question is asking us, it gives us a population function, and it's asking us to find the rate of change of the population to help determine the following values. So again, you are taking the derivative of population, of this population function, and you're evaluating it when x is 1. And that's really all there is to that. Oops. Making sure I didn't go through 2 at a time. No? Okay. This one is a little bit more intense because it requires you to take the first and the second derivative, which can get pretty messy. So as you're working through this problem and you're thinking, wow, it can't really be this lengthy, it is. So don't second guess yourself, but go very, very slowly because it's super easy to make one simple little mistake. And definitely when you submit your homework for this one, write out all of the steps so that I can see that you have the process correct and help you identify where you went wrong or made a simple little error if you did. My suggestion for solving this one is to start by expanding this so that you have using your distributive property, so 3,000 plus 12,000 t over t squared plus 100. And then you're going to want to use your quotient rule. Quotient rule to derive this. So that's just a little bit of guidance on how to go about answering these questions.